Call the Village of North Fond du Lac Board of Trustees meeting to order Monday, January 18th. Due to the state of emergency related to COVID-19, the village will have the limited seating at the board meeting. In addition to the board meeting being available on cable channel 980, you are also able to dial in and listen to speak through the phone. If you would like to call in, please call 920-322-6120 between 5:45 5:55 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Audience members are requested to sign on the sheet provided at the registration table. Roll call of officers.
Duffy.
Here.
Horning.
Here.
Streeter.
Here.
Price.
Here.
Will.
Here.
Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Citizen participation, seeing none. Moving down to announcements. Any announcements? All right. President's Business and Staff Reports, Library. Heather?
Thank you. Just a couple things. Tomorrow I'll be attending the Winnifox annual meeting via Zoom, so we'll have about 30 directors all joining in for the Zoom annual meeting this year. And our next book club will be February 20th, and we're doing the title American Dirt. So everyone's welcome to join. We do that also virtually, so you can contact me for a link if you'd like to join in for that. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Heather. Lakeside Municipal Court, Connie.
Thank you. Delina's doing very well, getting caught up with everything. She's definitely, it helps that she had some experience with the different municipal courts. So we did make some changes. I've been handling the City of Fond du Lac citations since 2004. So I decided it was kind of time for a change. So I'm having Delin do the City of Fond du Lac, and I'm doing all of the other municipalities. Citations were obviously down last year because of COVID and not being open and everything, but we ended up still processing 7,825 citations, which was a difference of 1,766 from 2019. So.
Connie, has it always been available to pay your fines online, or is that something that's within the last 3 years? Or
Yeah, we've used GovPay for a service, and now we also have Point and Pay. So we have those links on the website to pay those.
okay, is that pretty popular? Do people usually use
Yeah.
that? Then yeah, just a
Very.
convenience.
Very.
All right. Anything else, Connie? Okay, thank you. Administrator Nick.
Thank you. As you saw in the weekly report, I had I've been talking about the server upgrade for a couple of years now, it seems, but we finally decided it was time to turn the old server off. And when we did that, as always happens, some things that were hidden on that server showed up, and everybody got to work the next day and couldn't print and couldn't do this. So spent half that day getting that all figured out and taken care of. But I think as far as I know now, we have all those problems taken care of. So that old server is now turned off and no longer being used. I been working on this last couple months, but kind of getting everything, and we'll talk about it later tonight, but the rebound program that you'll see in the packet we'll talk on later, kind of been finalizing all that stuff. And then I did meet with Envision and a real estate person last week about the possibility of looking at some sort of marketing out on the business park, virtual building mainly. And I'll continue to update the board on that until we're just kind of working through some steps with it right now to look at maybe some options out there, and I will keep the board up to date on that. Right now I don't have a lot to report, so that's all I have.
All right. Thank you. Police Department, Darren.
Yep. So just
Thank you. I'm having Nick pass around our department reports. It's actually for October, November, and December, and then there's an annual report in there. I apologize for the lack of timeliness, I guess, on the last 3 months, but with budget and the hiring process, some stuff takes the back seat, and this was one of those. As Connie said, with citations being down, obviously that's true for the police department as well. We were discouraging officers from making unnecessary contacts with people, handled a lot more things this past year on a complaint-driven basis rather than just officers self-initiating contact. But the number of 72-hour detentions and welfare checks, drug overdoses, death investigations was way more than we normally see, and kept us more than busy for the year. So aside from that, I had mentioned the hiring process. I did make a conditional offer last week, which was accepted. So now that candidate has to complete an assignment suitability exam with Dr. Koziel. And depending on the results of that, I'll be in a position to make a final offer, and we'll be moving forward with that process. So hopefully we get this thing resolved here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and can then focus on filling the final remaining position that we have, and maybe doing some backfilling because it was an internal, or would be an internal promotion. So that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Darren. Fire EMS, Jake?
Thanks. The COVID vaccine today, as of today, became available for all the staff about a week or so ago. It was available for EMS providers, so some of our staff has gotten their first dose of the vaccine. And other than that, we had a fire incident over the weekend. Everything went pretty well. The occupant was by himself inside the residence when the fire started and was able to escape without any injuries. So I just want to thank the North Fond du Lac DPW and police department for getting there quickly and especially DPW, giving us a hand getting the water and everything shut off afterwards. So there's not as much damage in the long term. So that's all I have.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
Yep.
Public Works, Darren?
All right, thank you. Just a few things. Crew's been busy. Finally enough frost in the ground that we've been able to get into the parks and start doing some removal of the leftover or remaining ash trees in the parks. And then we're also doing some trimming of some low-hanging branches that we've had issue with near power lines, stuff that's in the way of the lawnmowers all the time. So we're just cleaning up mainly in Lemieux Park. We're going on to Optimus Park next and doing removal of trees and then trimming there also. I've been working pretty closely with Brian, Steve, and Rob. I've been working on getting the ball rolling on some of the capital projects and purchases that we have set for this year. I've got them doing some of the legwork for me to try to get it taken care of quickly here. And then Brian and I have been reviewing the applications today for the janitor position. We made some phone calls today and set up interviews for later this week. Hope to have that person through the interview process and moving on to background check and work steps next week to get them hired and by hopefully 1st of February.
All right. All right, thanks, Darren. Moving down to consent agenda. Approve the minutes of the following village board meeting from the 4th of January. And approve invoices and authorized checks be drawn on the respective funds as indicated. General Fund, $144,207.14. Library Fund, $3,221.66. EMS Fund, $3,862.04. Capital Projects, $1,652.84. Water Department, $26,798.48. Wastewater Department, $16,010.76. Stormwater Fund, $3,574.48. Community Development Authority TIF, $212.93 for a grand total of $199,540.33. And also approve the following operator's license: Margaret Kuzi for Charlie's permanent license, and Jennifer Kraus for the R Store for a permanent license. What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion by Will, second by Price to approve the consent agenda as read. Are there any questions or comments on this item? Ann?
I just had 2 questions. So on page 8, there's a bill for Leads Online. It says track investigation system. I was just wondering what that was. $1,188.
That's actually an annual subscription that we pay. Leads Online is, this is going to be nothing to any of you, but years ago, we used to get paper things from all of the pawn shops, secondhand stores. So that somebody would have to sit down and go through those things to determine whether or not any of their stolen property had been pawned. Basically, Leads Online takes care of all of that for us in today's world. So it's just a search base, a
Okay.
database of secondhand purchases, and you can actually go in and enter persons of interest so that if all of a sudden they show up somewhere, they'll flag it and let us know. So it's an annual subscription.
Okay, thank you. And then I also just had another question on page 12. It says Titan Public Safety Solutions for $15,424.
Yep, and that's going to be, Connie, that would be for their computer system. That's another annual support for
Oh,
their
okay.
court system.
Got it. Thank you.
That TIPS, I believe, is
Oh,
the
okay.
program.
That's expensive.
It is expensive, and it's based on subscription. You know, there's a number of communities, so.
Sure. Okay.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Moving down to administrative. Number 1, discussion and possible action on 2021 village board meeting schedule.
We've done this in the past, and I think it's a good thing to look at early in the year to make sure if there's any big conflicts where 2 or 3 board members aren't going to be available. I do have one vacation out of country. If they allow us to go out of country, we'll see. I didn't go last year. June, I would miss that meeting, not that it's a big deal if I'm not here, but for a few meetings. But looking further, Chuck had gotten back to me. He'll be gone the 2 February meetings. Does anybody else have anything planned that they're aware of? Miss any meetings? And if not, then looking forward then, so July 5th is a Monday. The village office is closed that day. It's a holiday weekend. That one being where it is in the year, we could move it to Tuesday, or we could go to the 12th, or we could just skip it. We can play that by ear when we get closer if everybody's okay with that. I think I would prefer we either do the 12th or skip. If you just want to maybe tentatively put the 12th on the calendar, if that doesn't conflict with anyone.
That works.
Okay, so we'll just put that as the 12th then for now, and if not needed, we can skip it. Labor Day, I think August is a 5 Monday month, so August 30th might be a good alternative to that, which would probably be my preference if that works.
That works for me.
That's what I was thinking too.
Okay. So we'll change that one to August 30th, and I'll put this all on paper then and give it to everybody so you have it. And then that November 1st for me is a possible conflict, which isn't a big deal. I'll know more later. And then November 15th would be the budget adoption. That would be one that everyone really should, have in the calendar to make sure they're at if possible, so.
What
Right.
about June 7th?
Did I skip one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I'm on vacation, and we'll play it by ear when we get closer. I mean,
Okay.
I will likely not be here if it'll be out of the country.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I
and-
heard you say that.
What's that?
I guess I was thinking May 31st would make sense. I don't know if you
It
had
could,
said
it
that or
could,
whatever, but.
yeah, we could definitely do that. Why don't we do that? But let's just play that one by ear, because if the travel bans don't get lifted, I won't be going. so.
Sure.
And I suspect I may not be, so.
Yeah.
Did I miss one?
Oh, sure, sure,
Oh,
sure.
okay.
No, you're right.
That's probably what I looked at then.
Right.
So, we'll play that one by ear
Yeah,
when we get closer, okay?
details, right?
All right, well, I'll get those changes on there, and I'll get a new schedule out to the board then, so you have it.
It's
Any-
interesting how many months are, like a month, there's 5 Mondays in it this year.
Yeah. Yep, I love 5 Monday months. Because I get 3 weeks off from doing an
Right.
agenda.
Do you just need consensus on that, Nick?
No,
or-
no, we're
Just
good.
everybody's
We're
good,
good.
okay.
Yep.
All right. Moving on, any questions or comments on that item? All right, seeing none. Number 2, discussion and possible action on entering into a contract with the Rebound Program.
So, I provided all the information in the packet, just to kind of give a summary of it. I provided a sheet of, kind of a recommendation sheet also. So, our insurance company actually originally had reached out to us about this through the league, which, not McClellan. Yeah, it is McClellan, Sherry. It's through the league, the insurance. So, this kind of started as looking at this Rebound Program, and initially, they had offered to pay for the first 3 years if we wanted to sign up for it. And Darren Pouch and Jake and I and Chris all sat in on a virtual meeting with this gentleman from Rebound, and he kind of gave us summarized how basically what they do is they took a model from the sport industry, right? I mean, if you see an NFL player get hurt, they have the best doctors in the world at their disposal instantly. They get checked out, they get to the right doctor, and they hopefully get on a quicker path to recovery. And you hear so many times, and we've seen it here with injuries at work, where if they go to the doctor, they wait so long to get an MRI, they wait for this, they wait for that, they end up in, you know, we had an example sitting in the room earlier tonight, you know, with a foot injury, where it just takes longer than it probably should have. So what this Rebound program does is they kind of assemble their own team, and they have trained physical trainers on staff who answer a phone call. And once you remember, you call this phone 24/7, they answer, they ask what happened, they kind of direct it and say, okay, I think we need to go do this. They have their own group of doctors and physical therapists that they deal with, and it's localized to our area. I mean, we might have to go to Milwaukee or Madison or Green Bay or Oshkosh or Neenah, but it's pretty local. And basically, it's kind of the same type of method. They try and just get you back to, the sooner they can get you back, the better off we are. So going through this, we were, I think, Darren and Jake and I and Chris were all kind of like, well, it sounds like a really good idea, but what does it cost? You know, so we looked at that, and then we found out that, well, they would pay for the first 3 years, and it was like, okay, what happens after the first 3 years? Well, it turns out that the league itself decided that this was such a good program that I attached the letter. They basically are paying for it. So in our case, it's going to be paying for the bill and reimbursement from the league. And I attached that letter from the league saying that they will pay for it. With all that, we thought it was a good idea, even at the cost, potentially, because the big difference in this is the mod, when you have a mod factor with your workers' comp claims. And that mod factor moves, and your insurance, we saw it go this year, right? We went from like maybe $80,000, I'm guessing at this a little bit, but we jumped significantly with our workers' comp insurance this year because of our mod factor moving. So the quicker you can get those people back to work, the less that mod factor moves, and it literally, some years is $20,000 to $40,000. We see an increase in that workers' comp, you know, for the entire village. The way they set this program up, if you sign up, they really, it's geared towards the fire, EMS, police, and public works, because those are, you know, the most probably probable causes of getting injured. And what they do for communities is if you sign up for all 3 of those departments, you automatically get all of your employees covered. So this would, and family members. So it includes all employees and all family members. And it basically is going to be free of charge to the village.
John?
Do they do services outside of that? I mean, it looks like for injury and all that other stuff, do they do any pre-employment such as physicals? I know, Jake, within your department, you're having physicals. Is this a avenue to pursue to maybe get everyone physicals instead of every 2 years you have money budgeted because of the cost? Are they available for that, or is that unknown? I was trying to read through, and
I don't think they do
I
that,
didn't
John.
see
They
anything.
do some other, they do other things, but I don't think they do any like pre-employment type
Okay.
stuff. They may help you set up programs, and they also do, you know, maybe more of the mental stuff too, some of that, but they don't necessarily do that pre-employment, I don't think.
Okay, thank you.
Mike?
Is some of this stuff being done already by work steps, you know, that,
Well,
would we be saving any money
So-
there? Because, I mean, there's times when people get hurt and before they come back to employment, would we be still doing work steps
so
besides
some of
this?
this stuff is probably being done more by our workers' comp insurance. You know, they follow up, but you still don't have this direct. When you sign up for this, they have their own doctors. Basically the requirement is if we sign up for this, we will require our employees to go through this program to get back to work. And it's definitely more pointed, and they have a broader group, more specialized people that join their group that they're able to have access to.
You also said they're family members, so they're really not
Yes.
targeted, you know, they might be working in a whole different field, you know?
Yep.
So Nick, have you talked to anybody in any other municipality that is part of this? Like-
We had, we didn't directly talk with them. We had some email correspondence, and I guess we didn't, looking through all the information, Chris and I did a lot of research on it and looking at it, and once, you know, realizing that the league was so behind it, and our league, we're covered by the league, we're members of the league, we have our insurance through the league, and that they were willing to pay for it, I guess we didn't maybe take it that next step at that point.
Did the cost of the insurance go, I mean, I know the league, did our fees go up, or they're not going to, because obviously this is good.
Yeah, I mean,
of
there's
money.
been no discussion whether or not our fees would change. It's basically telling us that they will cover the cost of it, and our fees are based, I mean, that's a statewide organization.
Correct.
So, you know, I would be surprised if they increased our fees because of this.
Okay.
Mike, did you have something else?
Is there any, you know, that's after the 3 years that under, are we tied in anything? Let's say the league decides
No.
not to
Yep.
stop paying it. And
So if you look at the contract itself, it's a 3-year initial
Yep.
term, and then after that, it's a 1-year terms, and that either party can cancel. I did look into that. The initial 3-year term can be canceled also, but we are, at this point, we did talk to Sherry from the league, and she's, you know, assuring us that the league is behind this.
Anything else, Mike?
we get one more question. Can the league cancel the service, or we, or, I mean, I just.
Well, they are, if you look at the actual contract, the league is listed as, we're listed as a client to the league.
Okay.
So my guess is they're probably legally, maybe they could cancel it too.
Okay, I'm not saying they would, I just.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
all right.
I'm not an attorney, I guess.
All right. Ann?
So this is to cover people who have a workplace injury?
It actually is more than that. I mean, that's
Okay.
really what it's geared towards,
And
but
there's
it's any injury.
So deductibles, like, does the person getting covered have any sort of deductible?
So
or
it
anything?
would still likely process through their insurance.
Okay.
But it has nothing, it's geared towards getting people back to work sooner. It has no, if they're injured off duty, they're still through this program.
Okay.
It's basically to try to avoid people being gone longer than they need to be.
Is it a benefit to, I guess, our employees in addition to their regular insurance, and would it save them money somehow?
I would say potentially, because they are hopefully having less doctor visits and things,
Mhm.
because this is really streamlining the process and getting people back to work quicker.
Mhm. But they could really see any doctor they wanted. This doesn't, I guess, make people.
Well, if it is a workers,
If it's not work-related,
right,
though?
if it's a workers' comp claim, they will be seeing these doctors. I
Mhm.
mean, that's
Do-
part of the program.
Do we tell them who to see now?
No, we cannot do that.
Okay.
Through workers' comp? Is that what you're asking?
Well, if someone gets in a workplace injury now, do we have any, I guess, say over what doctor they see or
So
anything?
I think we have maybe for a second opinion, we
Okay.
can do that through, and fortunately haven't dealt with that as much as maybe some other people in the room
Mhm.
for workers' comp claims, but initially, no. We
Okay.
can't tell them where.
But now we can?
They will use the program, yes, if they're hurt at work.
Okay. Okay.
Anybody else have any questions for Nick on this one? All right. What is the board's pleasure?
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Are there deductibles for are there deductibles for the village then? Or, I mean, anytime they go see a doctor, it's just covered under this,
So-
there's no,
This program is paid for as an annual contract.
Yeah?
And that just gives you access to this program. Now, when you go see these doctors,
Mhm.
there's still
Ah.
likely insurance involved.
Okay.
Right, but it's no different than going to see your normal doctor.
so this just allows you to participate in whatever this,
Gives-
this group of people.
Yes. It gives you expedited care, is kind of, the best term for it maybe. And if you look at the annual contract for what it actually costs you, I mean, it's like, is it $7,000? I mean, it's, when you think about it that way, yeah, you obviously aren't paying for all the medical bills also. It's
Right,
just
that's what I
giving
was
you
kind of
access and
thinking.
getting you quick care, and they guarantee, it's 24 to 48 hours that you'll see somebody.
Okay.
It's just when you start looking at these injuries that we've had on the workplace, and it just gets frustrating sometimes that it takes 3
Sure.
months when you thought it was going to be 2 weeks, right?
Right.
So that's what we're trying to avoid.
Got it.
John?
No, you hit on a point that they're going, if it's a workers' comp, the individual's not paying anything. If it's a work-related injury, everything's covered anyway,
point.
so it's not really, they're not saving anything, but the idea, is the village saving anything, and is the workers' comp on board with this?
Yes, and that's, workers' comp is through the same
Okay.
carrier, and that's a great point, John. You're right, I overlooked that. If it's on duty, they're not paying anything.
Sure, sure. So our workers' comp insurance pays their medical bills?
So our workers'
if
comp
they
is
get
through the
hurt?
league,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay. I was just concerned, I guess, that these people could cost more
So-
than someone else
and that may be-
would or whatever.
I maybe missed that whole big picture thing. The league is the one who provides our workers' comp. The
Sure.
league is saying, we'll pay for this,
Okay.
right? So that's probably why.
We should feel comfortable that their
Yeah.
prices are not more than other people's prices.
Any other questions, comments on this item? All right, seeing none, what's the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion that we enter into the contract with Rebound Program.
I'll sec-
I'll second.
All right, you got a motion by John, second by Chuck to move into enter into a contract with the Rebound Program. Are there any other questions or comments? Mike?
Question on that. Could we make a mental note or write a written note that in a year you'll give us an update on how
Sure.
things are working and see how it's all panning out?
Sure.
That's all I got. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments regarding this item? All right, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right. Communications, any communications? Any unfinished business? Any new business?
Can I ask a question? I
Yes.
don't know if this is the right time, but is there any sort of an update on the COVID vaccine? I know you guys had said that you were getting it. I don't know, is there a general public update? Like, are you going to Agnesia to get it, or what?
So the general public update is there's three, basically right now, there's three tiers or four? Three tiers. The first tier that in Fond du Lac County, they rolled it out. I can send I think I've got an email with all that on it. I just assumed it. And it's basically the first, the obvious, the first one is like first responders, healthcare workers, people like that. The second is age groups, and then people with, maybe the,
Underlying health conditions
underlying
or
health
something?
conditions, and I'm missing a few, you probably know better than I do. That would be like utilities and things fall into that second category.
Okay.
The third category is pretty much the general public then,
Okay,
and they, really is no timeline for it at this point. We just know.
okay,
Kind of how the process has been going, so.
okay.
We'll have a better outlook, I know the health department will have a better outlook, after, and the entire one group, or first group gets vaccinated. So after that happens, then they'll roll into phase 2 and then, have a better outlook on where the quantities of vaccinations are at.
Okay,
But I would assume summer.
Okay.
That's kind of what they've been telling us.
thank you.
Anything else, Sam?
No, I
Okay.
was just wondering about that.
All righty. Moving on to item K, closed session. Get a motion to go into closed session, please.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session for discussion of personnel issue under Wisconsin State Statutes 19.85 sub 1 sub C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Item A is the ability to administrate a performance review, and item B, public works staffing.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, got a motion by Orning, second by Price to go into closed session. Can I get a roll call, please?
Duffy.
Yes.
Horning.
Yes.
Streeter.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Will.
Yes.
We are in closed session.